Hey guys, I'm Sarah. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing the Know the Novel part 2 kind of like question. It's not really a tag because it was originally done on a blog, but anyways, it's kind of like a tag. I answer questions and so on and so forth. Know the Novel part 2 is talking about the work in progress, which is the work in progress of my NaNoWriMo novel, BFA, which is the third book in my Creatively Chronicles series. This questionnaire, it's not really a questionnaire. These questions were created by Christine Smith. I will leave a link to her blog down in the description. She has an amazing blog. You guys should check it out if you're, into that type of thing of hearing about reading and writing and stuff like that. And I did do this video last year. I did also do part 1 last year. I didn't bother doing part 1 this year because I'm working on the exact same book that I was for NaNoWriMo. So I will leave both of those links down in the description below in case you missed them from last year or are curious to hear more about what I was doing last year this time at NaNoWriMo with this same book. And I will also leave links to my NaNoWriMo videos for weeks 1 through 3 down in the description as well in case you missed those. So let's just get into the questions. And the first one is, how's the writing going overall? It is going actually very well. This book I've had major issues with for the past couple of years. And this year it's actually going really well. I've only snagged, I think, a couple of spots where I was just kind of like, not really sure what I was doing or whatever, but overall it's actually been going really well, which is surprising for this book because this book has been the bane of my existence for the last 2 years. So yeah, it is going great overall. I'm enjoying working on it again, which is a big plus because I haven't been. So yeah, it's definitely a big plus. It's definitely going well. And I am, as of filming this video, I am officially almost out of what's the word I'm looking for? I'm almost out of doing the rewrite edit section of, basically I was rewriting, adding new things, or editing what I had previously written at the beginning. So I'm almost out of that. I think I have like maybe a page and a half of the older stuff, and then it's new territory from there. So yeah, but the writing is definitely going well overall. Okay, question 2. What's been the most fun aspect about writing this novel so far? I don't know if anything's really been fun. Pretty much my character's world is falling apart, so I don't know if that's fun or not. This is definitely, I'm calling it draft 2 on my document name, but this is more like a draft 1. So I wouldn't say there's a lot of, I'm enjoying writing it again, so that is something. The most fun scenes though, I don't really have any because this is like the finale to my story and like literally the world's falling apart. So, the fun aspect, I don't know, just the characters being together again and doing different dynamics with different characters. There are some funny moments that I put in there just because different character personalities just don't get along very well. So that's kind of fun to write. So yes, I guess that'll do. Question 3. What do you think of your characters at this point? Who's your favorite to write about? Okay. Mainly in the Creatively Chronicles, I do the whole series, the whole trilogy is from my 2 main characters' point of view, who is Vienna and Flynn. In the second and even in the third book, I do have an additional point of view from a villain. His role's a little different in book 3, but yeah, so, what do I think of them? Well, Vienna and Flynn have been living in my head. Actually, all of these characters have been living in my head for like 10 plus years. So I am very familiar with them. And they're very familiar with me. So, yeah, it's just, yeah, it's good working on them again. I don't quite have character arcs down for Vienna or Flynn. I do have more so for Vienna than Flynn at this point, which I'll get into. I think there's a question about problem areas, so I'll get into that later. But yeah, I am definitely enjoying being with them more, especially considering this is like the finale of their story. So, you know, it's kind of like I want to do it justice, but also I should keep reminding myself this is a rough draft. I can fix it later and make it better. And the villain character, who his name is anonymous because that would be a giant spoiler, but he's an interesting character right from, because he's generally unlikable, but also kind of trying to point out the brokenness of why he is unlikable. And I don't know if it's coming across very well. He doesn't have that many point of views. I'm just kind of doing it a little bit at a time. I may not even keep him in the story. It depends at the end when I'm done writing it what I decide to do with him. But yeah, he's just a very interesting person to try to dig into, because it's like what makes him tick, what's motivating him, and why is he doing certain things that he's doing now, and just all things like that. Okay, question 4. Has your novel surprised you in any way? Yes. I have added one aspect into the story already, but now I've realized I need to move that. So basically, they discover something near before a different event happens, and now I realize I need to move that discovery of something to afterwards, which I wasn't planning on doing that beforehand, but in my original idea for the story, that's when it would have happened. So obviously it was supposed to stay that way, but you know, you live and learn. So I just moved that. I've also, with the few bits I have left, I have decided to kind of split up where my characters are, like, which that was a new thing. It's like, okay, so part of them are in this location while the rest of them are in a different location. And I didn't have that planned beforehand, but now it is the thing. And my novel surprised me. It surprised me by telling me my characters don't have arcs, which that's kind of important. And yeah, I would say that's it for now, because I haven't really gotten out of the have already written part. So it's not like this is like total, oh my gosh, this is like horrible or whatever. But it's just kind of, you know, just little things here and there. I'm sure I'll have more revelations as I go on, because I'm pretty much a discovery writer, or a pantser as we're called in the writing world. It's one or the other. Discovery writer does sound a little like more like you know what you're doing, even though you don't. But yeah, and I have like a bullet point outline, but I'm not adhering to it strictly. It's just kind of like characters need to go here, here, here. Here's the points. How do I get for them there? But things can change, so we'll just see what other surprises this thing has in store for me. Okay, question 5. Have you come across any problem areas? Yes, the character arc issue. I believe I mentioned it in, I believe it was NaNoWriMo Week 2's video. Yeah, I have discovered Vienna and Flynn, my two main characters, do not have character arcs. Yeah, that's a problem. Vienna's, I've kind of figured out how I'm going to weave it in as I go. Definitely in the beginning it's going to be need fixing. Flynn's I haven't quite nailed down yet what his is. It's obviously a continuation from where I left him in book 2. But I haven't quite figured out what that is just yet. So his may be more of a mystery for a while. But definitely Vienna's, I at least know a direction I want to go, so there's that. Any other problem areas? That's pretty much it. I mean, that's a pretty big one, so I think that covers it. Question 6. What's been your biggest victory with writing this novel at this point? Wanting to write it. That is something I would not have had a year ago or even 2 years ago. This book has been, I would say it's one of the hardest ones definitely to get the rough draft down for. Emotionally speaking, book 2 was hardest for me, but this one's differently hard on a different level. It's more hard, I don't want to say technically, but that's kind of the only word I got. It's very hard to nail down. It's very hard to figure out. I'm also wrapping up a series that I've been working on for like a good chunk of my life. And so it's just, I don't know, it's just a lot of internal pressure on myself, which is stupid because it's not like these are published and I have a bunch of readers wanting to read it. Pretty much the only readers I have are a friend and my family. But I mean, they want to read it too, but it's just, I don't know, it's just, but yeah, biggest victory would definitely be just wanting to write it, wanting to work on it, and being good with what I can do, and just enjoying the process for what it is, and not trying to push myself to make it something it isn't just yet, because it's still a rough draft. So I would definitely call that a victory. Okay, question 7. If you were transported into your novel and became any one of the characters, which one do you think you'd be? Would you take any different actions than they have? Well, closest character I would be. I would say personality-wise, I'm closer to, say, Vienna, but I'm not really sure if I'd make the same decision she's making. Some of them, yes, because literally she's learning to be a leader, and I wouldn't know how to do a lot of the things she's doing either, so I would probably mess up the same way she's doing. And beyond that, I'm not really sure, because she is dealing with so much more bigger stuff than I've ever dealt with, so it's a little different. It's a little hard to know how I would respond in those areas. So yeah, that's kind of the best answer I can give. The only other thing would be the only other character I'm somewhat close to in my personality, or I think I could be, would be Flynn, just because but even then, with some of the things he's going through, it's like, yeah, I would have cracked a while ago, so I don't know. It's a little hard because I put my characters through the ringer, so it's a little hard to know how I myself would react in those situations, but hopefully I would react well and not make things worse, but you never know with these types of things, especially with what I do with them. Okay, question 8. Give us the first sentence or paragraph, then 2 or 3 more favorite snippets. Okay, I am going to skip this one. Mainly because this book is one giant spoiler. Literally, I had the hardest time last time. If you want to hear some of the snippets, the beginning line has changed, but some of the snippets I had last year, which are basically the same, you can watch my Know the Novel Part 2 video from last year, because those snippets that I mentioned in there are basically the same. The only one that changed is the beginning sentence of the book, because that one's, I totally changed that one. So if you want to know some of the snippets, I would highly recommend watching that video up to this question, just so you could hear them. But I'm gonna skip it for now, because literally I have nothing else new to put in, and anything I do try to pick, because those were incredibly hard to pick the first time, because literally the whole book is one giant spoiler. So yeah, being the last book in a series, it's a little hard to share stuff. Okay. Question 9. Share an interesting tidbit about the writing process so far. For example, have you made hilarious typos, derailed from your outline, killed off a character, changed projects entirely? Anything you want to share? Okay, well, I did share the fact of beforehand that one section of my story, at least one scene, has moved. And in a different story, there's characters who are in 2 different places that weren't supposed to be. Also, I haven't killed this character yet. But unfortunately, I've decided this character needs to die in order to do something for my main character, one of my main characters. So, sadly, that person's going to end, their life is going to end. The poor character. But other than that, I'm sure I've made hilarious typos. I've made hilarious typos in every single book I've written. Let's see, derail for my outline. Well, I didn't have an outline to begin with. Well, the bullet point thing I've derailed a little bit, mainly because of the characters ending up in 2 different places to begin with, but have no idea beyond that. And, yep, killed off character. Haven't done that yet. But yeah, I did decide, in order to push one of my main character's arcs, this particular character is gonna have to go. So yeah, RIP ahead of time to the poor character, but because they haven't died yet. So yeah, so on that morbid note, let's go to question 10. Let's see, take us on a tour of what a normal writing day for this novel looks like. Where do you write? What time of day? Alone or with others? Is a lot of coffee or some other drink consumed? Do you light candles, play music, get distracted by social media? Tell all. I don't really get distracted by, well, actually I do. I get distracted by YouTube, and that's social media. So, normal writing day. Well, I I don't know what I was doing last year, but this year I seem to be writing more in the afternoon, which is a little weird for me because most of the time I'd be more of a morning person with writing. But lately I've been doing it more in the afternoon and getting better stuff in and doing like other stuff that I normally do in the morning. So I don't know, that's been working. So I've been doing that. I don't drink anything while I write. I don't eat or drink anything when I write. Mainly because I do it here in my room. There's nowhere to put anything, and also I just find that distracting. I write basically the same spot I did when I mentioned this last year. I sit on the floor over here, beside my bed, and I just write because I have a laptop, so I just put it in my lap, and I just write there because I don't have a desk. So, and the only other desk we have in the house is my mom's, but it's kind of in the middle of everything, and I don't really like the noise that, you know, just living with other people creates, and also it kind of is a little too high, so I can't really type very comfortably on it, so I just find sitting on the floor works the best. Also, I have to be near a plug. There's a plug under this bookcase because my computer is ancient and it needs to be kept plugged in. So, I do not write with others around because I find that distracting. Having too many people like trying to talk, especially in a rough draft stage, because I'm literally trying to pull it from my head and put it on the paper. Editing is a little different, but yeah. And I do not like candles. I mean, I have these fairy lights here, which I have on, which is not in that direction. They're over there. But I don't usually turn them on. I just decided to turn them on today because I thought it would look nice. And yes, I do play a lot of music when I write. That's how I put on my headphones, and then that's how it helps me concentrate when I'm writing. I play instrumentals. I play singing ones, which I know a lot of writers don't do the singing ones because it's hard to concentrate that way. But honestly, I've listened to a lot of these songs so many times that I can literally turn off if I'm listening to the lyrics or not. I know it sounds weird, but apparently my brain just works that way. And I also listen to instrumentals. It's kind of a combination. So yeah, normal day I would just, you know, sit here. I can write for a maximum of like 2 hours. Apparently 2 hours seems to be my best, you know, most lengthy time. I think that I've gone up to like 2 hours and 45 minutes. 3 is usually when I'm editing. When I'm doing a rough draft, apparently I can push like 2 hours, 45 minutes before I have to quit. But lately I've just been, if I can get in 2 hours, that's great. But it's not likely. Most of the time I think I've been getting like hour 30, hour 45, which it still makes progress. It's just a little bit slower than what I'd like, but I have to do other things in my life. I live on a farm, so we do all kinds of things like that. I live with other people. I mean, most of us do, I'm sure. But you know, there's just different things that I have to do in my life, and you know, keep up with doing reviews for the books I read, which, I mean, doesn't get that bad unless they all start piling up after a while. You know, just normal day-to-day stuff. I have to find time to film, which hasn't been happening lately, and it needs to. And it's just, yeah, it's just different things. Sometimes I wish I could write more, but I just put it in whenever I can and am happy for the time I can put in. So yeah, that is the Know the Novel, the Work in Progress, part 2. And yeah, there is a part 3. I never did it last year. I am planning on doing it this year. So we will see. That should come out in like December. So yeah, let me know down below in the comments what you think of what I've shared about my project. Share any projects you guys are working on if you're writers, or if you're readers. Feel free to leave any questions in the comments about writing process, or just, you know, how in the world have I been writing a book for 10 years, you know, the same series, whatever. Just anything you guys want to talk about, I would love to hear from you. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, you guys, and I hope you have a good day. Bye.